2, 1. Oh, hey, everything started. Hey, another version of Herman Low. This time we're coming from our vehicles. I just left the chiropractor, Herman. He got me well tuned. When I
Man,
jumped in
whatever.
my car and got on here, I seen you eating.
That's right.
So you want to show the people what you eating, or you don't care to show
No, I don't do that without there being some type of a mutual relationship. I don't
them?
want to.
Oh,
I don't want to do a brand infringement. I don't want to infringe on anyone's intellectual property because I wouldn't want that to happen with my stuff. So
well, I'll
I'm
let the
just
people
enjoying. Hey, put it
look.
like this: it's a Pulp Fiction version. Hey, that is a tasty burger. It's not a Kahuna burger, but that is a good burger. That's why I'm having some burgers and some fries.
Yeah, yeah. I
And
was
I
gonna
did
let the
polarize
people
that too.
know. I was gonna let the people know it wasn't nothing healthy. So I
Man,
don't
come
want
on,
to
man.
see you on your. I don't want to see you on there talking about you eating healthy. You're doing this. You're Mister This.
I know the man that's sitting there talking about eating oxtails.
That's right.
You're not sitting there talking about me
Yes.
and my eating habits being. Come on, man.
Yes, I
Come on,
am, Herman
come on,
boy.
come on, Lomas
Yes,
Brown.
I am. Well,
Since
anyway,
Detroit
we'll
City,
get the
what's up?
eating. Hold up, we'll get the eating, but just like those lions were eating on Sunday, I guess we're gonna start talking about how they were eating, Herman, more. And they were. They
They were.
them linemen got fed on Sunday. And I like to see that because the big fellas got to eat. And when I say they got fed, that means that Ben Johnson let them boys run that ball and they ran it. They did what they needed to do against Tennessee, man. That's probably one of the most complete victories that I've seen in a long time, really, from offense, defense, and special teams. They really did a job on the Tennessee Titans.
I agree, Lo, and I had actually mentioned this on my post game show that if you were coming into this and you were seeing that Jared Goff threw for 28 yards in the first half and the Lions were up by it had 35 points, you wouldn't know what happened. And then to know that their average starting field position had to be in Tennessee's territory. When you talk about complete game, that was, from creating the turnovers to being efficient in the red zone and capitalizing, having big plays come out of the running game, which we already knew they had home run hitters. The linemen, you've
Mhm.
always talked about how important that is to establish a running game for the linemen because of the consistency that can happen with that. So, I mean, it was great. And then they were down some players, as we know, on defense. They were down, an integral part in JMO on the offensive side. So, yeah, this was a very complete game, man. So I agree with that. But hey,
Yeah,
Lo,
yeah.
won't we give a shout out real quick, man, to a few of the people, man, that are in the
Yeah, I
streets, man.
seen
I know,
Dwayne. Dwayne
yeah,
just text. He was saying we're gonna win the North. I love that. There he is, right there. Dwayne
that's
saying
right.
all grit, never come back down, never back down. So that's great to see that. Yeah, I like
Yeah.
that.
What's up, Tracy? And Bobby G too. Also I saw Paladin Cars popped in there early. Always getting Mr. Detroit City. Always want to give a shout out there. And definitely, man, we really appreciate you, Scott. Thanks for jumping in. This has been a great thing for us, man. It's always good to get everyone involved. Make sure you're telling everybody about what we're doing. Let them know that Low and I are on here. Always coming back, giving you that game rewind.
They go
Herman Low.
Bobby G too. Let's go
Yep, that's
Lions. I
it.
want to see a trade. Hey Herm, that's one of the biggest things. Let's talk about what Bobby G two talking about. He said
Yeah,
he wants to see a trade on defense, and that's been the talk of the city, man. Ever since Aiden Hutchinson has gone down, everybody feels that we need to make a big splash and get somebody in here. And I don't know about the big splash, but I do know we need to get somebody in here, Herman. I was again doing the game. And anytime you hear Sam Darnold is buying time in the pocket or Mason Rudolph is moving around in the pocket buying time, that's not a good thing because we know some of these quarterbacks that we're getting ready to face. They're a lot better than the ones that we faced so far. So I think they're going to have to get somebody in here. They've been trying to do it with scheme. And as you know, man, we don't want to have to manufacture pressure because again, that starts taking away from the secondary, start taking away from the linebacker position. But I don't know, Herm. We might not have a choice.
No, I think it's about, do you increase it by depth or are you trying to go get that home run hitter, right? I think it's going to be tough. You're coming up on a trade deadline. You're trying to make some moves, trying to find that one big player. I don't know necessarily if that's going to pay off because you are putting all your eggs in a basket to a certain degree. Versus, I think you continue to develop the guys that you have. You continue to try and make them step up. I think they do have some players that can play, but you still got to get that edge rush. I mean, I believe that you got to be able to have the containment on the outside. You got to be able to collapse the pocket, and then when you collapse it, you got to have pressure coming from the inside, as you know, because that allows the quarterback to be contained. And then, for a lot of people, when you talk about, manufacturing the pass rush, for the audience, for those who may not be as deep in the game, man, that means you got to bring people out of the secondary. You got to start committing more players to the rush to put pressure on the quarterback, which means you got to go man. I don't
Yeah.
think this team wants to go man. Can they play man with some of their safeties? I think so, but I don't think you want your safeties matched up against wide receivers for an extended period of time. You have some exposure here or there, but you don't want to get into that as a habit unless that's a called plan, because that's just what you're doing because the opponent is susceptible to you having to be able to bring that much more pressure and they can't handle it. But I agree, man. When you get Rudolph and you get, Darnold, and you get these guys that are buying more time in the pocket, look at the guys we have coming up that they're going to face quarterback wise. So yeah,
Yeah.
there's got to be some
So,
moves that's made. I was going to ask you, man, do you think am I on a point there? I mean, would you go after a big name or would you do more of trying to continue to develop inside and then go get just some add-on players that give you that additional depth because you got to play these guys that were now you've elevated to the being starters.
well, Herm, I think the biggest problem is that even before Hutch went down, we needed another
Yeah,
end opposite him. You know what I'm saying? Davenport, they thought he was going to be the guy, but he ended up getting injured. So they needed somebody before him. So, and then I know Keith O, he's asking, about another edge rusher that we need. So we will need to get an edge rusher. I think a pure edge rusher. Herm, they were hoping that James Houston, they were hoping that the guys they already had there would be able to step up and kind of, I wouldn't say fill that void, but at least, not make the void so deep, that it is without Aiden Hutchinson being there. So, and I think they've given them guys ample opportunity. They got this guy, Muhammad, he's in there. He did decent this last game. He had a couple of good push on the pocket this past game against Tennessee. But man, I just think, Herm, we don't have the person. I thought we did, but I don't know if we have the person in the locker room right now. So I think they're going to have to do something. But to answer your question, I wouldn't go out and make a big splash. Max Crosby, that would be awesome. But the thing about that is the Raiders would have to eat like $13 million of his salary, and they're not going to do that. So I just think we're going to have to probably deal with what we have or bring in a lesser known person to be that edge rusher.
yeah, I believe that's true. The only thing I when I look at this, I always go when you have good teams, and also Brent, Earl, Rich, Dose. What's up, Dose? Nice to see you in here. But Brent makes a point. He says he's 64 is one of the best teams he's seen in his life. Thanks so much to Sheila, Chris, Brad, MC, DC. I say this: when you see how this team can be broken, when I mean broken, that means they could be that solid team, that well-rounded team. I always said this: it comes back to the depth because players get hurt and players get hurt sometimes in key positions. I don't care if it's a quarterback, it could be your star running back, it could be a star receiver because receivers get leg injuries, they get hit going over the middle or whatever the case may be. You may lose people on the defensive side, like you lost a Hutch. That can break any team that is destined to have a great season. So I look at it now and go, how solid is this team versus how fragile or how much can it be exposed through just the simple fact of injury. Every team is that can happen to, but so what do? I think they've done a really good job of building and developing players. That's why I say, some of these guys we were talking about that haven't quite stepped up, one, do you keep them there for depth and you get people to put in front of them, or do you go, hey, we got to completely revamp that too because those guys aren't going to be dependable in the event we lose those starting guys, right? You're always going to be one guy away. You bring in a guy or two guys, if they get hurt, now what? You're back at the same drawing board. So I think it's really an evaluation. I want to hear the team say, we have to go do this because we don't have depth. I know they wouldn't call out players. That's not the environment they have there. They're not gonna bring people apart. But truly, where do they feel they are as it relates to having that depth and having that ability to be competitive in the even if they have injuries like all teams are going to have. And I just think that's what I look at when I see this team. Like, where can they be broken? I think Jared Goff could break the system. All right. I think, you got two running backs, so I think you have some pieces there. You got Sam Laporta. We saw where he didn't get many touches offensively, but they seem to still be okay offensively without him being a big part of that. The line, we've seen linemen go up and down. They have a little depth in that. So offense, I think we feel pretty good about. It's that defensive side where I think it still seems a little light in terms of their ability to stop those high-powered offenses.
Yeah, well, I mean, again, Herm, like I say, this was probably one of the most complete victories that I've seen from the Lions team. And I mean, anytime, like you saying, Jared Goff said that. Jared said, man, he don't remember a game that he had where he started in the red zone, pretty much on the in the opponent's, in their territory pretty much the whole game. And I can't remember having a game like that where we started the way we started. So shout out to Coach Dave Phipps, the special teams unit. We don't talk a lot about those guys, but that's that hidden yardage, and those guys have been great, man. Khalif Raymond, he's been awesome. Those guys blocking out there. Herm, did you know that punt return that he had for a touchdown? Did you know that was punt safe? So the defense was out there. That wasn't even the punt return team that was out on the field when he took the distance. So that's just kudos to those guys being ready on defense, those guys blocking, and those guys blocking without getting penalties. Because every time it seems like it's a special teams play, it's a penalty on it. So for those guys, those defensive guys to be able to execute like that, it just seemed like this team is executing at a high level right now. And that's good. That's good at this point in the season. That's how you should be.
Yeah, I think they're executing at a high level, and I think it's because the team has really come together. And we've seen so often where you have good teams. Look at what's happening in Dallas. Look at what's happening
Yeah.
over in Philadelphia. Look at some of these teams that are struggling to keep it together after having such a fantastic run and thinking that okay they've kind of figured it all out, and that they've kept it together because they've kept the chemistry. They built the chemistry in there. They haven't been making knee jerk decisions to get rid of players versus rather than developing them within. And I keep going back to that development piece because if you can't buy your way into putting together a team that works together and plays at that high level you just talked about, Low, that's what it's all about. Clicking on all cylinders. People used to talk about New England, right? And they were in their Super Bowl runs. They were doing things. Well, they don't have top household names. You probably couldn't name half the people outside of Brady and Gronkowski and maybe some other people, but maybe a
Yeah.
couple guys on defense. But then all their support players are almost built like what we're talking about here. It's like, you know what? They have a job, man. They have a task that they have to do. And then they execute that really, really well. They do it sound. They take accountability and responsibility for that thing. And they don't look wide like some of these other teams, the superstar players and all those things. I think that the league of superstar players being the ones that kind of hold it down for everybody, I think that day's gone.
Yeah, yeah. Who was that? That was a good question. The one before Brent. Keito, do you think we can move Aleem McNeil to the edge when Martin comes back? I mean, again, I take nothing away from the dancing bear. That's what I call Aleem McNeil because he's so sweet on his feet. Herm, he remind me of Jerry Ball. Just a
Yeah,
big
big guy.
athlete.
Yeah,
Yeah, but
yeah,
just an
big guy who's athletic.
athlete. Yeah, yeah.
Absolutely.
But I just think, man, because of just his height, when you got large tackles out there, our arms are long, most of your tackles. And with a shorter guy, you can keep him away from your body. You can control him a little bit more because he can't get in on your body because his arms aren't long enough to kind of shift you, jerk you, turn you, do whatever longer defensive ends can do. So I think from the standpoint of the run, he would be all right. But as far as generating a pass rush, Aleem McNeil out on the edge, I just don't think that's a good combination. Look, the Rams tried that with Aaron Donald. when they had the great Aaron Donald, they used to line him up on the end position. But as you know, most of his sacks came from the inside position, not the outside position. But that was a great question that Keto asked. But I just don't think, from the standpoint of him being physically, I don't think he could do that.
I know you're talking about Ryan was asking, what about Anzalone, moving him to the edge? Do you bring up do you bring up a guy like Campbell? I don't know if when you play out of position, you just don't play with the same discipline. You don't
Yep.
play with the same understanding of the position. So when you start moving guys around, and even if they have the athleticism, they have the athletic ability, if it's not what they do, it takes time to build into it. Not saying that you can't convert some guys into that. I've seen some of those big linebackers go to DE, and edge rushers. I've seen some guys that go from DE to interior and interior to DE. You've seen guys move around, but it takes a little bit more than that. But I do want to say what's up to Laura. Thanks for jumping in. And Scott, I know I said that earlier. Ryan, always want to make sure, man. And Mike, we always want to say what's up to
Yeah.
everybody that's in our chats. But here's my question, and this is to the people out there. What happens if deadline comes and go, and there are no trades made? I mean, how do you feel? Are you going to be disappointed? Are you going to think differently about Brad Holmes and the team upstairs? Do you think that if it's not the right fit, do you just pass? I'm curious to see what they think, because there's no given. We don't know what's going to happen. We don't know if there's anything that's really going to materialize, or if they even feel the way we feel that they need to get there. I know Coach Campbell's always mentioned that there's just too much time the quarterbacks have in the pocket. And then, it doesn't matter if it's an elite quarterback or a guy that's just novel, right? And early, easy guy. But I think I'm curious, like, what happens if they don't make a move? Would you be
Yeah.
shocked? Would you be
I,
surprised?
Herm, it was like that last year. Remember, they wanted us to make a move last year, to bring in some. I just can't think of. I don't know whether it was defensive end. It might have been an end last year. It was an end because it was a couple of guys out there that they wanted us to do. But I just think, Herm, you don't want to mortgage the future. This window is open, I think, for the next 4 years with the young guys that we got, with us tying Jarrett down and Amon Ra and Panay Sewell, Aline. You're going to get Aiden Hutchinson. You're going to tie him down soon. Brian Branch, guys like that, that your core guys that you should have around here the next 3, 4 years. I think we got an open window now, but I understand, and Herm, we understand how fast that window can close. So
Oh yeah,
we do understand that. So I can see, from the fans, a sense of urgency of wanting to get it done now. But you don't want to mortgage the future. And my thing is, in Brad, we trust, right? He's done a
right.
great job so far. Him, Schiller, all of them, they've done a great job so far, huh?
Yeah, I think with our gotta figure Brad's gonna try for a move. It doesn't happen, it's because he couldn't find, or he didn't find the right move. Trust in Brad. I think that's gonna be really the what I would glean from that. If
Yeah,
if there is no trade, that means that they could not find
yeah,
a deal that was a good deal. Not
yeah,
it doesn't have to be an epic deal. It doesn't have to be some crazy deal like you said, Lomas, that where you're going to mortgage the future and everything else. But I just think they will only way they would pass is if they don't find the right mix. So I agree with that
yeah. You
100%.
seen Dr. Detroit? Dr. Detroit said if we don't make a move, he's going to be so disappointed in Brad and the organization if we don't make a move. So I'm wondering, Dr. Detroit, does it have to be a big move? Because they just signed, oh man, somebody just is a pass rusher just signed today, Herm, that the Lions were looking at, and a team beat us to it and made the trade today. I'm just drawing the blank right now, but it wasn't a big name guy that just
It was
got
a depth
traded.
player, maybe a
Yeah.
depth player,
Yeah,
right?
yeah. So I'm wondering if Dr. Detroit, does it have to be a splash player, Dr. Detroit, or can it be somebody we don't know that's a proven commodity in the NFL?
You got Mike in here, Mike Landry is saying that after Dan acted yesterday, it would be a disaster not to make a trade at this point. What do you think? I mean, I think they want to make a trade. Let's be clear. The Lions want to make a trade. I just don't think, like I said, it's got to be right for this team. Chemistry is everything. If we've been paying attention to what has happened with this organization from upstairs to the field, to everywhere. And Lomas, you can speak better than this, even much better than I can, because you're definitely connected. You're inside with the organization. It's all about cohesiveness there. It's all about everyone being on the same accord. And, I don't think, we used to talk about when Wayne was here, how we would do things by committee sometimes. We would come down, they would come and actually probably talk to you. They would talk to Kevin Glover. They would talk to me or Brett and say, we're thinking about bringing in this guy. Remember, they would come in and say, we're thinking about bringing in this certain player. At one point, they talked about Andre Rison. They talked about bringing in certain players. They talked about bringing in different defensive players, and they bring in that leadership because they know that means chemistry, man. And I would think more so now than then, players across the league get to know each other on the off season. They get to know each other through
Yeah.
social media. They get to understand the quality and the brand of the player that's coming in to the organization to know immediately if that's going to be a strike or not. Forget about the talent. We brought in all kind of guys. You look at it. We brought in Pat Swilling.
I was just gonna say that,
Right,
Herm.
right.
Yep.
And
Yep.
he was gonna do some things. Pat did
Yep.
okay.
Yep.
We brought in Broderick Thomas.
Yep.
Well, I like B. B did
Yep.
well, but then you start thinking about, I mean, you're bringing in
But
guys who've had successful careers other places.
right there you
Does
go,
not
Herm. There
guarantee
you go.
it
Yep.
works when you bring them
Yep.
into the fold. That's
Yep.
the only thing that becomes a concern. And I think
That's a
that's if,
great
if the
point.
team if the team's going to push
That's a
on
great
anything,
point.
that's going to be one thing that's going to give them a moment of pause too.
Yeah, that's a great point, Herm, because you're right. Remember Henry Thomas? We brought
Yep.
Henry Thomas in, and it didn't work out the way it worked out from the teams they came from. Broderick
Right.
coming from Tampa Bay, Henry Thomas coming from Minnesota, like you say, Pat Swilling coming from New Orleans Saints. And it didn't work out that way. You're right. And that's the thing that you have to look for every success story, right, Herm? It's a failure out there too.
Yep.
It's a
Yep.
story that didn't work out and stuff. So, you have to be careful about some of these trades, and you definitely don't want to interrupt the chemistry that you've already built in that locker room. Because that's the one thing I can say about the Lions. They got great chemistry and stuff.
Right. I love it,
Hey, what
man.
they say, hey, who is this? They say, why they in the car?
Hey, listen, let's talk about that for a minute. I actually got in the car today, Low, because I didn't want to upstage being in my studio setup, and you always seem like you're a brother on the roof. You're on the move, man. You're a mobile. You're all over the place. You putting in that overtime. You putting in that work. Big fella's putting in the work. That's why he's a little fella right now. And so yeah, so I thought I'd just come in, man, and have a little bit.
Yeah.
And wait a minute. First of all, man, why can't we be in our car?
Yeah, hey man, I know.
We
I
just
was
we just
like,
we just ordinary
we
natural people. Come
we
on, man.
trying to give it to you. We trying to give it to you wherever we at. We trying to
That's
give it
it.
to you.
That's
Hey, I'm
right.
sitting up in front of Myers. Wait a minute, I'm in the Myers. I'm on Myers, sitting in the parking lot. We giving it to you wherever we can give it to you at. So
Right.
yeah, yeah,
And, and,
yeah.
and, and so everybody know, Lo asked me earlier what I was doing. Now I did have me some little Five Guys, so I just want to go in, man, and have me a little, because they like to load the bag up with the fries, man. Like one thing, my biggest pet peeve when I go out and I have to hit a burger place, man, the fries got to. I mean, the burger's good, and I
Yeah.
know the fries kind of the secondary.
Herm,
That's like the sidekick, right? I mean,
Herm,
you better bring me some hot French fries, and they better
Herm.
be freshly cooked.
And tell them people what else too. Tell them all your other pet peeves.
No, man,
Look,
no, man.
this man here, for the people out there, this man here refuses to go through drive-through when he goes through fast food. He gets out, he goes inside, orders his food, stands there and watch them people prepare his food. I'm telling
I
y'all,
know
y'all think I'm
everybody on
lying?
this
I'm not
call.
lying.
Hey, listen,
Herm,
don't
Herm,
make me
tell
go
them this.
American
Wait a minute,
Gangster.
Herm. Wait a
Hey,
minute. Tell
Lo,
them this. Tell them this.
go
If
ahead.
you go to a restaurant and you order an entree and they bring you out the wrong entree, or it's not to your satisfaction, you're not the person that complain, right? You'll
Not
just
at
order
all.
a whole nother entree, right?
Whole nother entree
There you go. There you go,
or deuce it
people.
out. Man, listen.
People, there you go. You see who I'm
Listen,
dealing with.
listen. I don't care. And now we're on sports. We're talking sports, but everybody loves to grub. Everybody loves to eat when
That's
they're out
right.
here, right? So I'm gonna just say this. Yeah, I drive through because listen, when I give you my money, I'm giving it to you. You're supposed to give me the best of that product, prepared the way you told me it's supposed to be prepared. Period. Everybody's held to standards. That's just my man. That's my brand
But
ethos.
but
That's how I
Herm,
roll. But hold on. But
okay,
listen.
okay.
So if let me ask you this. So if you bought a car See, you making it too big based on money. I'm standing on principle. See, that's the difference.
But Herm,
If you buy a car and they gave you a cracked windshield, you're not gonna be like, oh well, I don't worry about it. I can get it fixed. I'll just call
Herm,
Safe Light. No, you're not
okay.
gonna do that. If your tire had one that was almost flat, but all the other three were good, you can be like, damn man, you ain't putting no air in my tire. You gonna just leave it like that?
So Herm,
But
let's
they're gonna charge you the same amount of money.
let's relate this to food. So you go in, you walk in Five Guys, right? You place your order. You
That's right.
standing there watching them fix your order. Something happens. You don't like what they did. Maybe they put the pickles underneath your meat instead of putting it on top of your meat. You don't
Hey man.
like that. So what in the world? What are you gonna do, Herman Moore? Are you gonna complain? What are you gonna do if
Hey,
that's not
brother.
properly made the
First of
way
all,
you
hold on.
want it properly
First of
made?
all, Lo, let me tell you something. First of all, brother, that's semantics. Because if I ask for pickles, whether it's on top of the patty, man, or whether they put it
It
on the
don't
bottom,
matter.
that
Okay.
doesn't
All
matter.
right.
But if I didn't ask for pickles and you put pickles on it, yeah, you're gonna have to make me another
Okay.
sandwich.
So maybe I was being a little semantic with that. But my thing is, if your burger isn't properly made to your satisfaction while
That
you're
I asked for,
standing
that
there,
they offered me the opportunity to say, how do you want this prepared? I want it
no,
prepared like this.
no, Herman, that's at Burger King. Have it
Man,
your
no,
way.
man.
That's
Listen, let
not
me ask
at
you
no
this: when you go
Five
to a
Guys.
listen, we can get off tap, but we got to sum it
Yeah,
up
I
because
guess we have. Yeah.
this is for everybody
I
that's on
know
here. But
what
listen,
Dave's
hold
talking
on.
about. What
Oh,
what are we
oh.
even talking about? You right, Dave. We got all off. We
Hey,
all off in
hey,
left field
hey,
right now,
James
Dave.
Lawrence, you might as well stop it. James Lawrence, just stop it. Go ahead and get off here. That's my boy. But listen, when you go to let's use McDonald's. Let's just go straight novelty. Let's just go straight what everybody understands. When you pull up, you don't go, hey, can I get a number one with some cold fries? No, dog. That's not what you do. And give me more ice than I can possibly have and put a sprinkle of soda in there. No, that's not what you do. You ask for a certain ratio. You go in, you don't expect that burger to be sitting there for all day. I go in, yeah, I go to McDonald's, I go, hey, can I get a large coffee black, fresh pour? You know what they say? No problem. We'll put a new one on for you right now. That right there told me that was already old. They didn't mind. I made the request. They can either accept it or deny it. And then if they say, "Hey, we ain't doing this. We ain't doing nothing. You get out of here." I have a decision. I can stay and keep patronizing and coming to that place, or I can go somewhere else with my money. A dollar's a
You
dollar, brother.
all right. But that still ain't you still didn't convince me off that, Herman J. Moore. I'm
Hey, wait
still
a minute,
not
man. Rich said
convinced.
food is food.
I
If you're hungry, you'll eat it. now,
Hey, and
now,
they
now,
were
now,
right.
now, hold
That's
on, hold
what
on. Now, Rich,
but
but Rich,
Herm, that somebody to that's what I used to do. You go in and you ask for fries without salt on it, and that's how you would know you got hot
absolutely.
fries.
That's
Yeah.
right.
So yeah, okay.
Or
All
tell them
right.
that you want light lettuce or you want light tartar or whatever it is, right? That was always the way, but they got smart with that. You know, they get smart with all that. But
Hey,
yeah, he's right,
with,
man. We do listen. Uh, cold fries. That's right. That's right. Cold
hey,
fries, nasty.
okay, what about cold cheese? Because I'm talking about the cheese heads. That's what we going at. You see how I
Yeah.
transition
All
that?
right, I look at
I
that.
know
All
people
right,
think we crazy, but what about some
we're
cold
not
cheese
crazy,
heads?
man. We just real dudes. That's
Yeah,
all.
we are. We are. So Herm, talk to me about Green Bay, man. That this a
Green
challenge.
Bay.
This a
I think
challenge.
this is game of the year so far for the team. I think this team matches up probably better than any of the teams that they faced. Green Bay's got a good defense. They have multiple offensive weapons. They got a good running game. They got quarterback and they got depth at the quarterback position that they found out early that it can come in and attack you both ways. So I think, and they're going to be playing, at home. So, if you look at it, man, it's like I think so far that's going to be their game of the year right now.
Hey man, we get some funny comments about food, man. Somebody
Because everybody
somebody
knows.
say Burger King, they be double dipping your fries. And then somebody said her, somebody said that you're gonna be the only person they seen live stream from a car wash. You're gonna be going through
Hey,
that
I
Run
will.
DMG said that.
I will. Hey, you know what? And the thing is, we want to connect just like y'all connecting with us. I don't know where y'all at. but y'all making time to come hang out on our stream with us. So that's what's up. That's what's real
Yeah,
about it.
yeah,
Because we
yeah.
we we're gonna look. I had to be somewhere. We said we were gonna do it at 3. We doing it at 3. So I just hope I'm in
Oh,
an appropriate place that we do it to where I can come live like this. You know what I
hey,
mean?
hey, Herm. The last time I was at our favorite place, Pro Sports Zone,
Mhm.
me and Jax were eating chicken together. It was good too, Herm. Cause you know what's it, John? You know John
John,
takes
you.
care of us. Yeah,
Oh
John
yeah,
takes
all
care of us
day,
there. Yeah,
all day.
yeah. So yeah, but Herm, let me jump in there real fast
Yeah,
about the
jump in there.
cheese head. I think this game right here, Herm, could go a long way in determining. Oh, wait a minute, they about to get me since we live streaming. I don't know what's going on right now, but yeah, I hope
We
that's
got
not for me.
we got
Uh,
5-0.
I don't know what's going on right here. I hope they're not coming for the big fella, Royal
Hey,
Oak
hey.
Fire Rescue. But
Okay, I was gonna say, just
okay,
let me know.
I'm,
I thought you was ready to call neighborhood. I thought we
okay,
was
I'm
about ready to
good.
roll
I'm
up.
good, Herm. But
Okay,
Herm,
you ain't calling gang. Okay, all right, go
no,
ahead.
but Herm, this could be it. This could go a long ways in determining the NFC North. I know we
Right.
still got Minnesota. We still got all our NFC North games. We still got Minnesota one more time, even though we have the little tie break over them since we beat them. But man, Green Bay's gonna be a challenge. Chicago's gonna be a challenge, even though they blew this last game. This is gonna go a long ways, I think, in determining who's going to win the NFC North. And to me, Herm, for us to get to the Super Bowl, everything needs to come through Detroit. We need to win the North. We need to get that number one seed, I think, for us to get to the Super Bowl and win that thing.
Yeah, I 100%, man, and I'm glad to see that the stigma and this elusiveness and all this aura that was around Lambeau. Man, we never bought into it. We just didn't do well, right? We would
Yeah.
swap. We would typically split with them during the season, or something like that. But that 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 that's gone. Like they don't care. I think this team. It's not even about. It's about the execution and discipline of how they play. They don't
Yeah.
worry about the opponent. They don't worry about the task at hand other than execution of assignment. And in doing that, that's what has allowed them to go in and I think have more consistency on the road or at home than you see that's happening across the entire NFL. When we look at the Lions, we don't go, man, is this going to be a letdown because they're on the road? Is it going to be a letdown because they're going to Green Bay and they're going to be all caught up into the aura of Green Bay and Lambeau Leap and all? They don't care about that.
Yeah.
This is a team that feels that if they do what they're supposed to do, the confidence that is an all-time high. And I'll say this: I believe that exactly what you said. It's going to get tough. We saw what has happened with teams that have gone 10-1, 10-12, 11-3, and then all of a sudden have epic collapses and failures because they lose sight that 99.999 is not 100 yards, right?
Yeah.
If the goal is 100 yards. So if this team stays focused, it's definitely one game at a time, but it's understanding the repercussions and the consequences of what's at stake if they don't go out and perform the way they're supposed to perform. That's why I've always scratched off. Will this team have letdowns, and will this organization or the coaches allow this team to forget the importance of each game of each play? No, that's not going to happen. So that's a win in itself. And they're not dealing with all that crap, man, we see going on with some of these talented teams that I think gives them another advantage
Yeah.
and
Yeah.
another edge.
Yeah.
So that's why
But
we're excited. That's why we're here talking about it like we're talking about it. And coming from a place of real like true belief. This isn't fabricated. This is like, yeah, I think this team is, yeah, they're there.
yeah, no, they are, Herman. Brian asked, with this without a defensive end, do we think I think this would be the litmus test right here. Going up against Jordan Love, because I expect him to play. They talking about his groin. We expect him to play. That's who the Lions are getting ready for. So it ain't no need in them putting up that facade that Malik is gonna play. It's gonna be Jordan Love. And this is going to be our litmus test to see if we're able to get pressure on him. Herm, we got to get pressure on. We got to get sacks. We got to get hits. We got to get pressure consistently on him. Because they got a good wide receiving core, and we still got a young secondary. We got a good secondary, but they're still young. So we got to get consistent pressure on him, and definitely can't let Josh Jacobs get started on the ground. and we've
Right.
been good against the run all year long. So I don't expect him to get started against us. So I expect us to go up there and get a tough, hard fought victory. It's gonna be tough. And we kind of owe them guys, man. Them guys beat us on Thanksgiving, man. We owe the Green Bay Packers, man. We owe them, Herm.
Yeah, we on, but I know, I saw in the comments. I was gonna see if I could find it real quick. Yeah, Anthony Fitzpatrick, last two trips to Lambeau, they've gone and
Yeah,
beaten them convincingly. So no chance of them getting, just rode over there. So also I know that, to your another point that you had, and what's up, Lisa? Thanks for coming in, Ryan. Frog, what's up, man? It's this team, and we'll start to wrap it up a little bit. I was concerned a little bit when I saw the pressure that was put on Jared Goff on a couple of the rush from the Titans defensive side and being able to get to him. I think the Green Bay is going to dial up more. I think they have more athleticism. They have more schemes that they're going to run and packages because of the athletic ability and what they have as a team. And the only other thing I was going to say with that is I think they're going to force the Lions secondary into more man coverage because of the fact that when we've seen them have athletic quarterbacks and you already having problems with your containment on the defensive on the rush inside of it, and then there's gaps in the middle. We've seen that at times where those inside linemen get overpowered or pushed to a side, and it creates a lane. We saw Sam Darnold, we saw Mayfield, we saw different people getting out of the pocket. We're facing another quarterback, or no matter which one is in, that has that ability to do that. And I think getting these guys in, man, we don't want to get back into the PIs. We want to get back into the holding that we see with the linebackers and the tight ends because it seems like when there's extended time, it starts to create real issues in the secondary for the Lions in terms of pass coverage.
yeah, no, you hit it on the head. So you're right about that, Herm. It'll be interesting to see, Aaron Glenn's game plan, what he'll do, because he still got to protect those young corners, those young safety. He still has to find a way to protect those guys. And you're right. If you got a quarterback that can buy time, man, that can really hurt you. So it'll be interesting to see. But I do, like I say, I do expect a good game. You know what, Herm? It's going to be a game of wits too. When you start talking about Matt LaFleur, the new I think Pettin is the new defensive coordinator with the Green Bay Packers, going up against Ben Johnson and going up against Aaron Glenn and Coach Campbell. It's going to be it's going to be some strategic moves there made, Herm. Oh, Herm, they don't brought another fire truck over here.
Hey,
Okay.
Lo, you make me
Yeah.
nervous, man. I was like,
Yeah.
Robert had put this baby and come off of the string was
Yeah,
going
man.
off
I'm
camera,
getting a
man.
little
Hey,
nervous,
Lo,
man.
let me ask you something, man. You need gang?
I'm all
You
right,
need
huh?
you good?
I'm good. I'm
I'm
good.
from I'm from I'm from I'm from Detroit and Danville, right? I know you from Broward and Dade, so I don't know why we having any problems right now. You shouldn't even be sitting there all
Man, what's
nervous and
wrong
squirrely.
with you?
Hey, I'm gonna ask you this. For everybody that's on there, I'm gonna ask you this. This will tell me if you feel you're in a safe place or not. Did you pull into the space or did you back in?
No, I'm back then. I
All
Jesse
right, that's what's
James.
up. I'm
Yeah,
back
I
there
Jesse
too.
James, Herm. Yeah, I
All
got
right.
to always know what's coming
And
from behind me.
that's right. Everyone who understands what I just said, they
Yeah.
understand what I just said.
Yeah, yeah. And they
Are you
call
are
it
you
the
backed
Jesse
in or are you put
James.
in? All right, that's
We
what's up.
call it the
All right.
Jesse James. You know that's how Jesse got shot in the back, right? That's how they killed Jesse James. He got
All
shot
right.
in the back, Herm.
Hey, Lo, how we get from Lambeau
Well, I'm just letting you
to
know
Jesse
because
James to
this
rescue
this
squad
the
in the
name
parking
of how
lot
you park.
to
When you back in, it's the Jesse James because you don't want nobody behind you. You want to see what's in front of you, Herman J. I ain't gonna get Jesse
all right,
James. No.
all right.
Okay.
All right, gang.
Yeah. I appreciate that, Herman
All
J.
right, so let's start to wrap them up, man. We want to again, man. TJ, thanks for coming in. Dwayne, Yvette, Bob, just a fan, love it. Jax, thanks for coming in. This is cool, man. Brent, uh, Corey. Hey, Lo,
I
I know
know.
Will said they should line you up. They said they should line you up at the end, but we said we trying to stop Jordan Love. We're not trying to make him a fantasy extraordinaire. Make him
Hey,
just
Herm.
win
I'll
a
give
league
him
in one
one.
game.
Hey, I'll give him one good play off that edge. I'll bring it, Herm. I'm gonna bring it
Hey,
one good
Lo, all right,
time.
hey, Lo. One last thing I got. Someone asked me a question. They said, "Do you?" They asked me if what would be my trick play, and this was asked by I think it was either Easy or Spencer when we did our post game. And I said I would like to have if it was our team. I said Barry coming around and actually throw me a pass that we can complete. He threw me a fade in the right corner of the end zone. And they asked me, they said, do you think you would, why not have, what about Lomas? Would you have Lomas throw it? And I
Yeah.
had to tell the truth. I said no, because Lomas is not an athlete. He's a lineman. It's different.
You shouldn't fool them people like that, Herm. Why you
Come on, man.
fooling the
I
people
thought you was
like
gonna have a
that?
better response than
Why
that. Come
you
on, brother.
fooling them people like
Man,
that,
defend
Herman
your
J?
position. Hey,
Yeah.
defend your position.
I don't know why you fooling
Are
them
you
people like
athletic?
that.
Are you a
We
lineman or are
the
you an
best
athlete?
athletes, Herm. They already know that. Who the best Look at Panay Sewell, how they send the big fella in motion. They'll split them
Myself,
all the way out to the sideline. Try to throw passes to the big fella.
All right.
Bring him
Well,
around in motion.
all right. Well, here's the deal. We'll end on this, and then we'll tell everybody what's up and goodbye. But I know Chris wants to pop in here real quick. I want you to give me your take on my acting ability, my impromptu, my just going out and just doing something with the Herman Low blankets. Take a look.
myself, I bring my blanket. Gotta bring your blanket. I gotta make it like I'm at home. I'm getting comfortable, just like Lion fans will be at home against the Tennessee Titans. It's got storage, man. I'm trying to sleep. You gotta keep the noise down up in here. I'm like Linus.
Okay, there you go.
From Charlie Brown.
Okay.
Zero gravity. I got hit in the back a lot, man. Oh, yeah, that feels good on my back.
And also at zero gravity.
It just feels like I'm floating. Hey, this is the Mod 2. Mod Dose. This is pretty comfortable. Watching the Lions beat up on the Tennessee Titans. Come in here, they have to be quiet because I'm trying to rest. Y'all just keep it down, man. Make sure y'all take the traffic the other way. Oh, this is Aldo. Aldo is comfortable. See, that's a safety right there. That's safety. Not worried about that safety. Lay it back even more, or just come forward. And that's without me even reading a manual.
Pull that up in the front. There you go.
Take my money. Just take my money. You know I gotta always say hi to Rachel.
So
Herm, that was like a homeless person that they just that walked in their store and just going around trying all their stuff. They ain't gonna buy nothing now, but they gonna go lay around on all the furniture and
oh my
all that.
goodness.
Yeah, that's what
Oh,
that was
okay.
like, Herman.
Okay.
Yeah.
Hey, you know what, man? I'm gonna give you some kudos and some props on that, man. I didn't expect that to come out of you. I didn't think you had them dozens in you, man. I didn't know you had some comeback in you like that. I appreciate that, brother.
Yeah, man. You walking around with your blanket, just walking in
Man, I walked
somebody's
around with
store.
our blanket, man.
Yeah.
I was
Oh
taking
yeah.
Lomas where I go.
Yeah.
Look at
Why
that.
you should have had the cheese head. Like you in the car today. How we gonna show the people the cheese head?
Oh, we're gonna put the Green Bay Packer one up too.
All
We're gonna
right.
have that
All
one.
right. Yeah.
With our cheese head and our lion sculptures. Yeah, we're gonna do
Yeah.
that.
We got to give the
But no,
people
man,
what they
that's just
want.
hey Lo. Mike
Yes,
said make
sir.
sure you keep that camera live, man, because you look like we want to make sure you're
Yeah.
okay, man.
Yeah,
Want to make sure
man. I
you
hope
get to
so,
where you need to
man.
be.
Hey, well, Royal Oaks Finest is out here taking care of somebody.
All
So
right,
I
that's what's
feel
up.
good. Feel good, Herman J.
Well, there's a Herman Low for everyone that wants to go. You can go to hermanlow.com, pick up that Herman Low blanket if you want. We're going to be putting out some other items like stretch canvases. We got some coffee mugs. We got some other accessories for a lot of just a lot of fun stuff, man, to celebrate again, just the great things that are going on within the Detroit Lion fan base. And we want to always share that with you. Want to thank everybody, man, for coming out and being a part of this. Continue to let people know that Lo and I are going to be here on our game rewind after every game this season, sitting here breaking bread, shooting it, a little bit of language here with you, a little
Yeah.
bit, talking about all
Hey,
kind of subjects, and we're gonna bring it to you from wherever we are.
we
Just as
might
long
be,
as that.
hey, look, that's what I was going to tell the people, Herm. We might be at the Imagine Theater next week. So
Oh,
we
that's what's
might be
up.
bringing it from there. Yeah.
Yep. And if we
Yeah.
are, we'll let them know. So stay
Yeah.
tuned. If you're not
Yeah.
already, make sure you're subscribing, make sure you're following, and making sure you're liking all of our channels. And yeah, we're at the Imagine. We love you to come out. We have our watch party. We're gonna sit out there. We're gonna be able to eat, talk football, spend some time, do all kind of stuff. So let's do that. All right, that'll
You
do it.
signing us off?